Hi, I'm Sandy Reed, and I'm the chair of the Classification Committee for the 2024 Daisy Flower Show. This video will walk you through the steps of preparing horticulture entries, both for the Daisy Show and other National Garden Club judged flower shows. While it is geared for someone who is completely new to flower shows, hopefully it will have useful information for those of you who have entered horticulture in past years. I'll go through two aspects of submitting a horticulture entry. First, we'll go through the steps of filling out your entry card, and then go over information you'll need for making sure you submit an award-worthy specimen. This is the card you'll be using. It's best if you can fill out your entry cards before coming to drop off your entries on the 27th. Hopefully someone in your club has picked up cards for your club members. If not, there will be plenty available when you get to Callanwall. There will also be volunteers who can help you identify plant material and fill out your cards if you are having problems. Let's start at the top of the card. Enter the name of the show, which is Daisy Movie Mania, and the date the show starts, which is August 28th, 2024. We're going to skip this next section for a few minutes and drop down here. You can either write in your name and address or use a waterproof address label. Either way, be sure to write in your club name. Now drop down to the bottom of the card and enter the same information again. This is important because after the entries are judged, the bottom section of the card will be removed, sorted by club, and given to your club president or other representative. The president will then give them back to you so you can see how your entries scored. If the bottom is left blank, and unfortunately it often is, you will never know if you earned a first place score. Everything we've done so far can be done in waterproof ink or with a waterproof address label. Please test that your ink and labels are waterproof. Cards often get splashed with water and can become unreadable if non-waterproof products are used. Now we're going to move back up the card. At this point, you need to switch to a pencil for everything else on the card. The reason for this is that changes sometimes need to be made when your entry is submitted to the classification committee or even after it's on the show floor. The classification committee members need to be able to erase errors. If a card is submitted where these sections are done in ink, you risk having to either prepare another card or even having your entry disqualified. All horticulture is in Division 1. For the rest of the card, you need to refer to the schedule, which can be found on both the Redbud District and DeKalb Federation websites. I suggest that you at least skim through the entire document. Make sure you are using this year's schedule as you fill out your cards. The class and sections of some plants change from year to year. If you're using an old schedule, or if you're using your entry card stubs from previous years, you may enter the wrong information. Old entry card stubs are great for filling out scientific names, but not for section and class. For now, I want to draw your attention to page 16. This is the beginning of the part of the document that tells you what you need to enter in the section and class boxes. The horticulture entries are divided into 15 sections, from A to O. Sections A and B are for shrubs and trees, and C is for true ferns. Hosta, succulents, and aroids each have their own sections. Annuals and perennials are both divided by whether they're grown for flowering or foliage. Bulbs, corms, rhizomes, and tubers are also divided by flowering or foliage. There's a section for herbs and another for fruits and vegetables. The final section is for collections. Please note that several of the sections are in a different order from previous years and that some of the sections have been omitted and others added. Each section is further subdivided into classes, which for shrubs are the 3 shown here. The classes may be broken down even further. This shows the breakdown of Class 1, flowering, of Section A, shrubs. So this is what you will write if you're entering in a mophead form of big leaf hydrangea, which has the scientific name of Hydrangea macrophylla. It's in Section A, shrubs, which you will write in here. The class will be 1 for flowering, C for hydrangea, 1 for Hydrangea macrophylla, and B for mophead. You will write that in the section for class number. Entry number should be left blank. The scientific name goes here, and I'll talk more about scientific names in a few minutes. If you know the cultivar, please add it in. And again, more about cultivars in a few minutes. You can add the common name if you want. It's not necessary, but it is helpful if it's an unusual plant that you're entering. Scroll down to the bottom of the card and repeat this information. This way, when you get the card back, you'll know what plant your score refers to. Let's go through one more example. Let's say you're entering a purple coneflower. At first, you might think this belongs in Section I for flowering perennial. But if you look further down the schedule, you'll see that it's listed as a medicinal herb in Section M. So you would enter Section M and Class 65C on the card. I said earlier that we would come back to scientific names. I have placed a list of the scientific names of many ornamental plants on the Redbud and DeKalb Federation websites. If you can't find the name there, a Google search should produce it. Just putting in the common name may not bring up the scientific name, but if you pair the common name with the term scientific name, you should be able to find it. For example, Google the words scientific name red maple should bring up Acer rubrum in one of your early hits. A scientific name will, in most cases, consist of 2 words. The first is the genus, which the first letter should be capitalized, and the second is the specific epithet, which will start with a lowercase letter. Both words should be underlined on your card. If you see these in print, they will be in italics rather than underlined. Some ornamental plants are the result of a hybridization between 2 or more species. For these plants, it's sufficient to just simply list the genus. Some examples of this are hosta, rhododendron, which includes your azaleas, and many of your roses. I mentioned earlier that the cultivar name should be included if known. The word cultivar stands for cultivated variety. When you see the word variety mentioned in the flower show book, it is referring to the botanical use of variety, which is a category that's considered to be lower than species or subspecies. And we're not going to concern ourselves with that on these entry cards. The cultivar name should be enclosed in single quotation marks, as shown here for the penny mac. Now we're going to move on to the preparation of your entry. You want to enter in the best looking plant material you can find. It should be free of disease and insect damage. If you have a few leaves or petals that aren't perfect, you can remove them. The specimen can only consist of a single stem. Remember that your plant will be judged on the day after you enter it, so choose flowers that will be at their peak bloom on that day. Specimens should be displayed in transparent green glass bottles. You'll need to bring your own bottles this year. No leaves should be below the water line. Sometimes a stem bends forward or to the side in a way that distracts from its appearance. We'll have green styrofoam available that you can place in the neck of the bottle to hold your specimen upright. If it's a flowering specimen, try to arrange it so that your flowers are facing forward. Some plants have special rules. Please check out page 19 of the schedule if you're entering marigolds, zinnias, cannas, or dahlias. Cuttings from trees and shrubs must be between 12 and 30 inches long from the tip of the specimen to the cut end. The exception to this is dwarf or miniature specimens, which must be at least 6 inches long. Cut specimens of ivy and other vines may not exceed 24 inches, again from the tip of the specimen to the cut end. These, however, may cascade onto the tabletop. More details on both of these items can be found on page 14 of the schedule. If a plant is grown primarily for its bloom, the specimen must be in bloom. If it's not flowering, it may not be exhibited in any other class or subclass. Finally, I hope this information has been of some help to you as you prepare your entry cards and specimens. And please be assured that more help will be available as you register your entries on August 27th. We want to do all we can to encourage you to enter horticulture in this year's Daisy Flower Show. Thank you.